Starting.
Are we live?
And we're live.
Yay! Hi everyone!
Hello.
Welcome to Mike and Lauren Live. It's
High
Tuesday
five.
at 8:30. This is our live show. If it's your first time checking us out, try to check out one of the other videos. They're a little bit shorter and more to the point.
I guess at this point, 1/3 of our videos are this. So if you don't like this, you might not like the other videos anyway. But they are shorter. Yes.
They're a little different. These are different from the other videos. Yes. Welcome. Hi.
So,
glad to see y'all.
What are we going to talk about tonight?
Tonight, we are going to be talking about how you measure success, and specifically how we measure success.
Right.
Our own personal opinions.
We wanted to get very specific tonight because there's a lot of information out there, you know, about just speaking in generalities about success and the different attributes of happiness and things like that. But we thought, let's do something a little different. Only we can tell our perspective of success. So that would be something new to contribute to the blogosphere. And we also want to hear your specific things that you consider successful. So we'll get into that in a second. But first, let's do some quick housekeeping. What do we have on the topics?
Survey. We sent out the survey in our last video with our 100th video and 2,500 subscribers, which is super exciting.
And the response has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So far, I think we've had a 30% response rate, which is like crazy.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And we really appreciate your responses. You taking the time to respond to us. It's been super helpful.
Not just the survey, but the comment section and the open-ended questions. Amazing. Yeah. Amazingly helpful information. So thank you all for that. But we are going to do, obviously, a wrap-up of the whole survey video. We'll probably let it go for 2 weeks before we do it. But I thought some results that you might find interesting. First is what your current favorite topics are, and by far they are living below your means and investing, which we knew the money side of things. That's what our channel is about, so there was no surprise there. But the future topics of interest actually had a couple of surprising ones. Number one was basic for personal finance stuff, which is what we expected, and actually have some plans for that in the future. But some ones that I didn't expect were product reviews. That was cool. I actually really like doing product reviews because when we buy something, I just pore over all the details and agonize over it to a fault for sure. But that does give me, by the time I buy something, I'm pretty much an expert on that thing, just because I'm retarded like that, stupid like that. I mean, some other top future topics you'd like to see covered were cruise tips, which is great timing because we're leaving on a cruise in 2 weeks. Which, quick side note on that, we will not have a live show that Tuesday. We were hoping that the internet on the ship would be, they have the new high-speed internet on the ships, but it's just too spotty and we're just not sure. We're just not sure. So we're just going to cancel that one. And so there's that. Another surprising future topic of interest was YouTube training. And I would really love to do some videos.
Mike loves talking about that, so.
I'm really into the analytics and the SEO and all that kind of stuff, so that should be really, really fun. How many videos a week you like? Overwhelming majority was 3 videos a week, so we're going to stick with that. The second one was actually 5 to 7 was the second most, but 1 video a week and 5 to 7 a week were pretty close match. What else?
We started working on some vlogging a little.
Oh yeah.
Which has been interesting because for the most part we film with each other and in front of a camera, and it's usually got a bit of an outline, and so I don't know how your vlogging has been going. Mine's been great. Super weird. I think it's awkward. I think it's weird to talk to the camera, so I'm getting used to that.
All that because we are probably going to try the separate channel called Mike Makes, and then doing our daily, weekly vlogs on Sundays instead of DIY stuff, and have a whole separate channel for DIY. And we already have our first project that we're going to do once that new channel is set up. Actually, it's going to be probably setting up shop for a few videos, and then the My Carta love letters.
Yay!
Where if you guys, we'll talk about it later. Basically, bandsaw love letters cut out with fabric epoxy to the wood, and as you sand it, it shows the fabric through. But we won't get into that now. Let's actually talk about what we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh, but the personality is really interesting.
Go for that.
We did think it was very interesting last week after doing the personality test stuff on our live show, how many INTJs there were who follow us. And women especially, because that's even more rare. Yeah. So I'm definitely the odd woman out and kind of on my own. But that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. overwhelming comment that we got also on the survey was more Lauren. So I guess I won't take that personally, but that's fine. I like her too. Just kidding. So we'll do more Lauren.
Just kidding about liking me?
Yeah. No, not just kidding about liking you. Let's go to the comments. Neil Lasagna Chef says, cruise tip number 1, shove some beer bottles in your pants while boarding the ship to avoid paying full price on the cruise.
We've actually taken rum runners on before, which is like a
Why'd you say it, rum runners?
Rum runners, I don't know. Like a plastic, how would you describe it?
You know the platypus water bottles?
Like they're smushy?
Yeah, they're
so
basically that.
You suck all the air out of it and put it between your clothes.
Yep, and they can't see it in the x-rays.
You're also allowed to bring 2 bottles of wine onto Royal Caribbean.
Yes. So the alcohol we have covered. Actually, this cruise, we don't have to worry about it. Mm-mm. We get 3 free drinks a day.
Each a day.
Each a day?
Right.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Because like we talked about last week, Lauren's mom has always taken us on Royal Caribbean cruises since she was little, grandfathered in. We are, what are we?
We're just rambling now.
Okay. All right, let's talk about success and how we define it and how we each personally, we separately sat down and wrote what we think success means to us. And then I actually haven't read yours over.
I haven't read yours. I'm afraid that mine aren't going to be as specific as yours though, because I know you.
But what we have to do first is define success as in general, because for most people, it's either defined in one of 2 ways. It's either measured in wealth and power, or it's measured in the accomplishment of goals. And we kind of, despite our channel being a lot about building wealth, more side on the accomplishment of goals side of things. And obviously, the wealth and power kind of, it could be summed up in he who dies with the most toys wins. We don't believe that, so we're kind of on the other side of the fence. And it is unique to everyone, and that's why we wanted to do it this way, is because it's been covered a lot on the internet. If you're interested in it, you can go read about it, but what we have to offer is our own unique perspective. And so I guess we'll start with that. Let's talk about each of ours definitions, each of our definitions of success, and then we'll get into how you measure it, because we specifically titled this video, How Do You Measure Success, not How Do You Define Success. So, success for me is a moving target, and I think it should be as your goals and ambitions change. First and foremost, it is maintaining a healthy relationship with Lauren, and raising happy, healthy kids would be a good thing and successful thing, I think. This one's very specific to me. It's kind of my pet peeve, is looking at the clock when working. And it's whether or not you're being paid for the work or not. It's basically, if you're counting down the hours, you look at your clock, it's 2 o'clock, you think, oh, 3 more hours till 5 o'clock, and oh gosh, 2 more hours. If I ever am in that situation, I'm 5 minutes away from quitting, and I'm going to find something else to do, because life is too short. We only have, our most limited resource is time. We can make anything else that you want. Money is infinite, popularity, power, all that stuff you can fabricate. But time, we don't get any more of, and I think if you're counting down the hours of your week, then you're counting down the hours of your life. That's a personal thing for me. Maybe not true for everybody. Along those lines, for me, even though we don't side on the wealth and power side of the equation, financial freedom and independence, I think, is a good measurement of success for me, because of the freedom that it does give you, that you have ultimate control of your time. And that's why it's important to me.
It's also a huge goal to be able to check off.
And measure. Very easily measurable. Having enough self-confidence to do new things. I think just self-confidence in general is a good measure of success. And never being afraid to fail, really, I guess, is the root of that I didn't think of until just now, is not being afraid of failure is a good measure of success. Another thing I think is good is mastering many crafts. So we have, we read, what is Malcolm Gladwell's book? It's not Outliers, is it?
Yeah.
The 10,000 Hours to Become an Expert at Anything. I don't know where I saw it. I want to say it was Epiphio or something. It was a long time ago, but where they said, in your lifetime, you have how many 10,000 hour chunks between the age of, say, 18 and 78 or something. And there's, I think they came up with 11 different lifetimes that you have to take advantage of. And so really you could become a master of 11 crafts. You could become an expert, world-renowned. I don't know, does he define master as world-renowned? I don't remember exactly what. But basically you could become an artist. You could become a concert musician. You could become literally anything you want many times over in your life. And I think a good measure of success is how you use that time. And if you are open to trying new things each step along the way. Let's go to comments real quick because we haven't been there. Okay, we'll come back. I think a good measure of success for me is being a good communicator and storyteller. And I don't know how to measure this one necessarily, but that's something that I want to continually work on throughout life and a good measurement of success. And finally, exploring your own spirituality. So you guys, you've seen our budget, you know we tithe and charity and things like that we are Christian. But also, I think it's important that whether Christian or not, or whatever faith you have, even if it's changing, exploring it so that you have it and it's your own. And it's not your parents' faith that you've inherited. And I can't say that I have done a good job of that up to this point in my life, but I think it's something going forward, exploring your own spirituality. Right. And let's move on to Lauren.
Well, I started this not being super specific because I didn't know that's what we were doing. So I will share just what I did put to begin with, was that success is measured by happiness and by joy, and coming from reaching a goal, celebrating an achievement, enjoying your work, getting the respect of those around you, or seeing those around you happy, which I actually think that that's a really big one. But so then when I got more specific, my first one was having a good relationship with Mike, a healthy relationship with Mike. I think that's most important, you know, the people that you're closest to.
Which is, at its base, is to give and receive love.
Yes, and that's why even the seeing those around you happy, that, you know, to be so close to Mike that I know what things he appreciates and enjoys, and being able to do those things for him, that I think brings someone happiness, therefore success. So that's my first one. And then being able to accomplish goals such as financial independence, learning to sail, things like that, you know, we want to be able to do that. Again, kind of checking it off your list, that this is something I want to do and I did it. I think that that's success. I also put building a like-minded community around us on YouTube. I think that that is a success, because people like you, we don't often get to go out and meet around us. And so it's really cool to be able to talk with you every week and see the comments. I think that's cool. Enjoying where I work. So kind of back to where you were talking with the watching the clock, you know, enjoying what I do while I'm doing it, because I probably won't be forever, and which I'm looking forward to. But while I am, I want to like what I'm doing. And then being respected and appreciated by my friends and family, and just for people to be able to trust me and know who I am and my personality and my character. I think that that is a measure of success. And that's my list. It's not as long as yours.
That's Lauren's list?
That's my list.
Cool. Let's go to the comments. We have a few. While we're answering these first few, we'd love to hear your specific measurements of success. Not measurements, but what your definition of success. So you guys go ahead with that. We'll go back here. Sharuk says, I think in the end, success comes down to having a choice to do what we want without being told what to do. And that's kind of how we are going to end this thing, spoiler alert, is not letting someone else's idea of success influence your own, and how important it is and how unique each one of our own perspectives is on that. Paul says, I'd also be interested in hearing about how you two determine your goals. Like you said, there's so many things to master. What made you two strive for the goals you do? This is a good question, and it's the same... I believe it's the same as creativity and ideas, and I put them in the same category as being infinite. And even for this video, Lauren came up with a topic idea, and it used to, when did we start doing videos? A year ago? It would have been really hard to come up with enough content to fill 20 to 30 minutes. We could do it, but it would have been something to do. Yeah, this, now we've honed it in and have so much practice just coming up with ideas that it's effortless almost, and it's enjoyable. And I think that's the same way with choosing your goals. Just as you do more you want to do more. Does that make any sense?
I think so.
So as, for example, let's say, just because right now we're setting up the shop out there, so woodworking is what kind of got me initially interested in a goal of learning that craft. Well, now that I've been into that, I've seen there's a whole other side of things of restoration. Like restoring vintage hand tools is something that we've talked about before. So we wanted to do some sailing and we want to do the woodworking thing. Well, kind of in the middle is these hand tools that if you could find these hand tools on Craigslist and eBay and garage sales and restore them, you could build a toolbox that is perfect for a sailboat that doesn't require any power. And so just like that, we took one thing we wanted to do and another thing we wanted to do, and now there's this whole another tangent, and I think all of our goals are sort of tangents of one another.
Yeah. As
you get up off the couch and start just doing anything, more things come to mind. That's what I think anyway. Goals, creativity, and ideas are a muscle, and we have a video about that. So let us move on to how we measure this success, and specifically how maybe other people measure success. Because measuring is completely different than defining, and in fact you can measure something incorrectly. And what brought this idea up is I read a Harvard Business Review article about how they were doing this study of, they were looking for their most profitable clients, and
I read that one too. That's
funny. Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were researching their most profitable clients. Up until that point, they had been measuring the revenue. So their big giant client produced the most revenue. They assumed produced the most profit, but in fact, their middle-sized clients produced more profit for them. When they should have been measuring profit, they were measuring revenue. And so that's how a difference in how you're measuring the wrong thing in business. In life, this is what took a whole nother tangent. Speaking of tangents, I got to thinking, what if we all define success very similarly, but we are measuring it incorrectly? The he who dies with the most toys wins type thing. So what if, for example, we all want to feel loved, but we measure it in popularity instead of, maybe that's inaccurate to measure it as popularity, as opposed to a sense of belonging and the things that you were talking about, being respected and trusted by your peers. Maybe we're measuring it wrong, just as a culture. Maybe everyone wants to feel like they have a sense of purpose, but we have chosen to measure that in power and control. The big CEO, the boss, that's what we want. That's how we measure success, instead of, measuring it in, I don't know how you measure purpose. How would you measure purpose without power and control? I know that's not right, but I don't know what is right. Everyone wants a feeling of achievement and accomplishment, but then we measure that in terms of promotions and money and things and job titles and kind of that big ball that we all...
Well, I think that's interesting because even just the keeping up with the Joneses, that if you have something that is big and fancy and exciting, but I don't have that, am I not successful because you do, even though it's not something I want? But you're measuring against the wrong things. Measuring against
someone else's idea of success. Yeah. Which is kind of how we wanted to close this thing. So we'll go to comments real quick. I don't know if we have any. We have a couple. So let's go back real quick and then we'll close it out. Success is best measured with an internal perspective. Money is useful for sure, but we need to remember that it's temporary, like Monopoly money. I agree with you there. There's also making the most of the life that we have been given here. So there's both aspects. I don't think you can call it black and white like that. That you can say, that this life isn't for us, we have eternity. If you believe that, and even if you do believe you have eternity, as I do, I think not taking advantage of what we have today would be wasteful as well. Ross Young says, it's momentum. The more you do, the more you can do, and the converse applies as well. The less you do, the less you can do. Keep moving. I 100% agree with that. I think it was actually Sharuk who commented in another video and used the word inertia, which I really like, that we as humans have a tendency to move in one direction, and it's difficult to change that direction. But once you change it, then it's difficult to change that direction. So our goal should be just to get that momentum, inertia going in the right direction. HBR, Harvard Business Review, very thought-provoking. Yes, I have never had, I've never actually subscribed to it and paid the money for it, but I have considered it many times. Are you guys, anyone subscribe to that? I mean, a lot of the stuff they have online for free, but I've never actually had it delivered. Libby says, success for me is working to improve some aspect of my life a little bit every day, not comparing myself to others, just my past self to my future self. I like that.
I like that. The improving some aspect of your life. It can be something big, it can be something little, but doing that little bit every day.
Yeah, I like that one. Sharuk says, measuring success in tangible assets makes it easier to compare to others, which is a natural human tendency. Yeah, that could be you can make a whole video about that, really. Because one of the most interesting things, I think, I'm speaking in exaggerations again, but I think it's really interesting how people who define success as in the traditional sense that we all kind of know from TV and movies of power, wealth, and control, once they've made their millions, that they continue working and doing exactly what they're doing, working 60 hours a week. Think of the Wall Street type. And at that point, they just consider money points. And in fact, I've seen, I guess, or read that they can actually talk in points. That money isn't something that actually gives them any more lifestyle inflation. It's just literally keeping track of points. Sexielic says, I guess when you log in late, YouTube starts you at the beginning of the show. Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, maybe not. I don't know.
I haven't done it.
Neil Lasagna Chef says, success for me is achieving my chosen long-term goals, i.e. reaching FI or being a great father to my son. I divide these goals into a series of smaller short-term goals on a weekly or daily basis. So we have a lot in common because I think that's the same. Instead of it being this strange, abstract idea that we're told to believe in TVs and movies, it's something that's definable, measurable, and, dividable. Sexy Alex says, enjoy your cruise, not uploading videos, LOL, plus it seems expensive. Yes. Well, they have the new internet package.
Yeah,
that's
rolled
unlimited.
out some new internet packages,
So, we don't know, but...
Yeah, we're not too sure about it.
Not too sure how it's going to work. All right, so how do we want to end? Oh, the importance of tracking your progress. Speaking of Neil Lasagna Chef's last comment, journaling, I think, is important. And for us, YouTube is a journal of our accomplishments and not our accomplishments in YouTube, but as we do things and as we record them and as we share them with you, we have something to look back on and measure our past self with our future self, like you were just talking about. And Melissa Gardner says, no, I just logged in too and we're 18 minutes in. You should be able to rewind because that's an option that YouTube gives us that we can either say, I think they call it DVR, that you can either rewind and watch it from the beginning or jump in only when it's live. So you should be able to click back if you want. And with that, I think we'll just say, stop chasing other people's ideas.
Stop chasing other people's ideas, or else you could just waste your whole
life.
Trying to get someone else.
Love yourself. Love your work. Love your family.
Happy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. And we are not off.